As Require Life is
7 a.m. and it's now time for the Morning Watch with Mr. Stokeley Marshall. Today, the Morning Watch is brought to you by AIM Financial Corporation Limited. AIM has a loan for any purpose. Visit any of our branches in Mandeville, Kingston, Spanish Town, Portmore, Maypen, Ocho Rios, and Montego Bay.
In need of a loan? AIM Financial is the place to go. We have loans from $20,000 to $3.3 million. Get a loan to pay school or college tuition, medical expenses, bills, fix up your house, buy furniture and appliances, repair or buy a car. And when you're done, take a vacation loan. AIM has a loan for any purpose. Call AIM today. You won't find a better deal elsewhere. Guaranteed.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the U.K., 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the main watch, an inquiry into victims of rape and sexual intercourse with minors in Jamaica. And in the second watch, a further update on Jamaica and the Samoa Agreement, formerly referred to as the ACP-EU Agreement. For our social media question, we ask, are you comfortable with Minister Johnson Smith's reassurance? Read the Samoa Agreement. Why or why not? Share your responses on our Facebook or YouTube Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-9973-125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your comments later on the program, but first, here's I quote.
All right, good morning. Today's I quote says, you can't blame things for being dark if the light bulbs aren't working. And this quote comes to us from Tony Evans.
Jukal, break this down for me now. Why can't I blame things for being dark?
Because the bulbs aren't working. So get bulbs that work.
So the bulb can't work itself. It can't fix itself.
No.
Really?
I don't think so.
Not in these days of AI. Come on.
Well, I mean, if they make it, I need one.
We need some AI bulbs.
I think so. Because my bulb gone the other day and I had to buy a whole new one.
You know what? Let me leave it right there.
That's right.
The main watch will be back after this break.
The skills and certification that equates to jobs and money worldwide. In 3 to 4 months at the Distinction College, start day, evening, and Saturday classes in pharmacy technician, bartending and mixology, project and HR management, hospitality, airline ticketing, and sales. No subjects required, no age limits, no entrance tests. Register this week and win an additional course for free. Or visit us in Kingston, Spanish Town, and Ocho Rios, or call us at 876-356-4167. Distinction College, the school of champions.
8884 Gas Pro. That's the only number you need to know. 8884 Gas Pro. Safety first, that's for sure. We feel it right, so when you're ready to light, day or night, the blue flame burns bright. So when you time you need cooking gas, call Gas Pro, and you get it fast. 8884 Gas Pro. Get attached to the one you know. Gas Pro, gas professionals.
Christmas is togetherness. Flow is giving you their best. Christmas is special savings. That's just what Flow is bringing. Christmas is the joy of giving. Flow has just what you you've been wishing. Oh, it's a celebration. Free phone and earbuds for you.
Get a free Samsung phone and earbuds when you sign up for Flow Yard and Road for only $4,999 plus GCT.
Flow makes Christmas bright and blue because it's all inspired by
Visit
you.
your Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister. Applications are now open for the Jamaica House Fellowship Program. Get first-hand high-level experience in the operations of the public sector and an opportunity to support and implement high-priority initiatives of the government of Jamaica for 2 years. Visit the OPM website at www.opm.gov.jm to apply and for more information. The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Looking to own a home and put down your roots? Join us at the Sagicor Bank Mortgage Boutique this Saturday, December 9, Portmore Branch, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Apply for your mortgage on location and get a competitive mortgage rate. 0.25% off commitment fee, on-site pre-qualification, $20,000 gift voucher for appliances, a Sagicor Bank Star Savers account with $5,000 for your child. Plus, on mortgage approval, you could be one of 3 winners of a patio set, living room set, or inverter AC with free installation. The Sagicor Bank Mortgage Boutique this Saturday, Portmore Branch, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm Stokeley Marshall. Recently, an inquiry into the victims of rape and sexual intercourse with minors in Jamaica spanning the period 2001 to 2023 was done. And the results are, although not altogether surprising, are interesting. The report says, quote, sexual violence is more frequently reported by persons in accommodation and food services, low-level jobs that are in isolated areas, individuals lacking qualification and legal status, working in a male-dominated career, and experiencing power differences in employment with minimal likelihood of promotion. Our guest this morning to have a discussion around this is Dr. Paul Bourne, research consultant. Dr. Bourne, good morning.
Good morning to your listeners. I'm hoping you're having a wonderful day as I am.
I am, indeed I am, but this topic is very concerning.
It is, but it is always best to know than not to know.
Interesting. The objectives of the inquiry, Dr. Bourne, what were the objectives?
My objective is always and will always be the same. We are going to be informing Jamaicans for them to make better decisions and for them to understand the world that they are living in. So that was the sole purpose of doing the research.
And in terms of the topic specifically, in terms of the issues, in terms of inquiring into the victims of rape and sexual intercourse with minors, that's a very specific topic. What motivated you or led you to consider doing this study?
It was simple. I'm privy to some information in terms of we have done other researches, including one that I had done, domestic violence and sexual abuse. And the figures were so startling, have naturally spoken to Jamaicans across the 14 parishes to understand the things from an empirical perspective. So I consulted the police, asked them for the data, and I was giving the data. And on completion of the research, I figured more or less that Jamaicans should be privy to the information. Same time, I was finished with the findings.
What were some of the main points that you derived?
Okay, fundamentally, over the last 22 years, we have seen over 30,000 rapes and people having sex with minors.
Reported?
Reported? No, it's not reported. It's a fact.
No.
Reported cases.
Understood. Reported cases, yes. But
yes,
can you extrapolate from that in terms of what was not reported? Or you can't? I'm asking.
No, we can't. But when you look at other studies internationally and what is happening in Jamaica as well, it is argued that only about 30% of the cases are reported.
Only about 30%
30%
of the cases are
of the
reported.
cases
That's
are
what it
reported.
is.
Yes.
That's what it is believed.
Internationally, it is argued that that's about the case.
Okay.
And that means the matter is even more staggering than we think it is.
Yes, yes. Now, help us or enlighten us in terms of some of the findings of your study specifically, sir.
Well, so let's help our listeners understand some fundamental stuff, because we are in December. My
Yeah.
month, my day, because today is my day. But let's let people understand.
You're having a great day, sir.
Yeah, I'm a super great day, man.
All right.
First thing we need to understand is that let's give them the top 5 years of the month in which rape and these things are high. January, the month coming up.
The top 5.
Top 5 months in terms of the most cases
in a year when these incidences occur.
Yeah. January, number 1, 11%. March, number 2, 9.1%. May, number 3, 8.9%. April, 8.9%. And February, 8.7%. So we need to let the ladies be fully aware.
Anything about those months as to why you have this particular issue so prevalent in those months?
I'm not certain, but what we can do is to juxtapose some fundamental
months, please. You said January,
March, May, April, and February.
I see.
So it's almost the upper part of the year that these things are actually occurring.
Okay.
When we look at what happens in December, in terms of people are festive, people are happy, people are doing well, they go out for January to celebrate the new year. And the critical part of it is that many ladies are going to be drunk. Many ladies are going to be going to places that normally they would not. So it's exposing them to these persons who are rapists. And that's exactly what they are doing to these ladies. But I want to let ladies understand that these are persons who know them even before the incident occur. Who are the person doing these acts? Students. In other words, young boys who are in school. So the victims clearly would know these guys. Unemployed individuals. 77% of the cases were done by students. 77% of the cases.
Students of what age were doing these things?
No, based on what the police reported them, it will be students up to high school students or high school, secondary school students. These are individuals who are doing these things. So they are known to the victims, known to them.
And the victims are about what age?
Most of the victims are young persons below the age of 18 years.
Okay.
Young persons.
Okay.
And we're exposing these young women to these guys who have a tendency to rape.
I see. Yeah. And I mean, this might sound like a question that really, well, let me just ask the question. What is leading to is the word propensity? What is leading to these young fellas doing these things? Did your research sort of unearth that? What's getting into their psyche, their mindset, that is causing them to behave in this way?
On examining literature, I sort of found something which I find fascinating. There's a theory which is called frustration aggression theory. And they argue.
Slow down.
Frustration aggression theory.
Aggression theory.
Right.
Okay.
They argue that the environment in which individuals live, what they're actually going through mentally, will drive them into aggressive behavior. And that is why many of them actually become, when they actually do sexual acts, it is so aggressive because of the environment in which they live. The frustration that they're actually going through socially and psychologically.
What frustration is not an excuse to commit rape, but what is the frustration?
No, that's what we're not certain about as yet.
So
what I intend to do now is to do a research to speak with individuals who have been either incarcerated or accused and acquitted of these crimes to unearth why that was the case.
Dr. Bourne, hold that thought one moment because we are almost upon a break. Very interesting. Frustration aggression theory. Listeners, go absolutely nowhere. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
In need of a loan? AIM Financial is the place to go. We have loans from $20,000 to $3.3 million. Get a loan to pay school or college tuition, medical expenses, bills, fix up your house, buy furniture and appliances, repair or buy a car. And when you're done, take a vacation loan. AIM has a loan for any purpose. Call AIM today. You won't find a better deal elsewhere. Guaranteed.
Government pensioners, the Accountant General's Department Mobile Life Certificate Drive is coming to your parish. We'll be in St. Mary on December 1. On December 2, we'll be in Portmore. December 4, in St. Elizabeth. On December 5, in Hanover. And December 6, Westmoreland. Trelawney pensioners, the AGD will see you on December 7. St. Anne, on December 8, we're coming to you. We'll be in Spanish Town on December 9. Portland on December 11. Clarendon on December 12. Manchester on December 13. And we'll make our final stop in St. Thomas on December 14. Remember, life certificates can be submitted at the St. James Parish Library and the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service using the electronic drop box. For more information, visit our website at treasury.gov.jm.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
With your Visa debit card in hand, you can do it all. Pay for all your expenses and win amazing rewards like a US $7,000 home makeover, a trip for two to any Copa Airlines destination, plus US $1,000 or a staycation for two at Sandals Resorts, plus bi-weekly prizes of air fryers, gas, or supermarket vouchers. Every use of your Visa debit card gets you closer to winning. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Kay. She loved to dance and play. One day at school, she got very ill, and Mom was left with an unbearable bill. It would be easier if Mom was prepared. With School Companion, 80% of the bill is cleared. Medical care for children is a must for as low as $2,400 per month. Make unbearable medical bills go away. Sign up for Sagicor School Companion today.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the first watch. The topic is an inquiry into victims of rape and sexual intercourse with minors in Jamaica. Our guest is Dr. Paul Bourne, research consultant. Before the break, Dr. Bourne, you introduced us to a terminology which you believe could be contributing to the type of aggression males are exerting against these minors, young males exerting against minors. The terminology is frustration, aggression, theory, and you're going to be drilling down some more into that to find out exactly what is triggering it. But Dr. Bourne, do you have any incidences in the reverse where it is the females who are carrying out this kind of aggression against males, or not at all?
There are incidences that are like that.
There are incidences like that.
There are incidents like that.
Tell us
what happens in Jamaica,
Dr. Bourne.
All right. What happens in Jamaica is that the law doesn't actually refer to classify those as rape, though.
Yes, there's another offense for those.
For those, right. So we need to understand clearly what those things are.
Yeah.
So those things are reported, they are there, and we will definitely be doing work to actually present our listeners with that information as well. But those are not considered as rape within the context of the law.
Very interesting. Any other information you want to relate to us concerning those reverse situations where it is the female who is the perpetrator? Any peculiar circumstances that lead to this?
I do not have the data, and I always like to give information to our listeners that is based on fact and not opinion.
Totally understand.
I do not want to have to delve into that without.
Suffice it to say, you have come across in your research.
Yes, we have.
Such data.
I've asked the police to actually give me that data so we can actually present our listeners with that information.
Very interesting, Dr. Bourne.
Yeah.
And specifically now, sir, in terms of the report and what was quoted within it, sexual violence is more frequently reported by persons in accommodation and food services on the one hand. On the other hand, low-level jobs that are in isolated areas, then individuals lacking qualification and legal status, working in a male-dominated career, and experiencing power differences in employment with minimal likelihood of promotion. Dr. Bourne, tell us a little bit about that, and tell us also about the situations, to the extent that you can, about what is not reported, because interestingly, this is what has been, in terms of what has been reported.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dr. Bourne.
We need person to understand clearly is that whenever there is power dynamics, and this is not yesterday either, it is historical in terms of when it goes back to slavery, is also a case relating to power and dominance that drives a number of actions or inactions. So what the slave actually went through during slavery was a matter relating to power and dominance. You don't have the power, and person do things, and I like it to get away with things.
Stick up in, Dr. Bourne. Stick up in one moment, sir.
Right.
I know that in a country like Jamaica, we have that historical, I would say, error. It should never have happened.
Yeah.
Slavery, chattel slavery in particular.
Yeah.
But you have other parts of the world where you have sexual violence against minors, where there probably wasn't that sort of legacy of chattel slavery. I know you're commenting on Jamaica, but
all right,
is it only slavery, or is there some other issue in the mind? What's going on?
But if you look at all the countries that have a problem relating to sexual violence, they've actually gone through slavery, every single one of them. And I've actually looked at literature. All the countries in the world that are reported as the top 10 countries with in terms of sexual violence.
Tell us the top 10 if you can, if you have that.
One is St. Kitts, another is I'm giving you 2 Caribbean countries that are on the list. St. Kitts is one. Yes, man. St. Kitts is one, and there's another country in the Caribbean. And all the other countries that are on the list, I do not remember exactly the list now. All the other countries.
10 countries are Caribbean countries?
No, 2 of the 10 countries are Caribbean countries. 2 of the 10.
I see.
And the others are in both Latin America and Africa. All of them have actually gone through slavery. Every single one of them.
I see. So the ones where it is most prevalent.
Yeah. Have actually gone through slavery.
I've gone through slavery.
Chattel slavery, right. Mm-hmm. So you understand, it's something about that dominance that still resonate within the people.
Continue, Dr. Bourne.
As they are.
Continue, sir. Continue.
So within that context, now one understand that, and this remember the society is still male dominated. So although women are rising and have been rising in the last 20 years, society is still a male dominant environment. So what the males substantially do is to use their dominance on females. And that's a part of the reason why the law was introduced.
In 1 second, Dr. Bourne, I know I'm cutting in, but
no, man, that's
when you say male dominated, give a little definition so we can understand what we mean by male dominated.
All right, when we speak of male dominated, we're talking about those with the resources.
Okay.
And you have the resources, you have the power. And that is substantially what is really happening. So although a number of
the male dominance is not necessarily physical, it is financial.
It's financial, it's both financial and physical. So the males use that against the females. So they are fully aware that physically they are stronger, financially they are stronger, and we are within the context of what happens in a number of societies like Jamaica, is that those with the financial resources are able to get away with a number of things that other persons can't. And those with the dominance are able to get away with something because they are feared. So when those two things are combined, it's quite a lot for females.
So, Dr. Bourne, even though women are rising in the corporate world, and you have women who are in a lot of male-dominated spheres now, there is still that imbalance.
Absolutely.
Financially, specifically.
Absolutely.
Some women are in some very high positions.
Oh, yes. When you look at the persons who have been raped here, I did not actually call particular things, but include police officers, include medical doctors, include those who are lawyers. They have been raped. In the current data that we are speaking about.
The perpetrators are more powerful than them or less powerful in terms of financial resources, or is the power dynamic mostly physical in those situations?
In many of those cases, physical.
I see.
So we need to understand clearly, no individual, and when we speak individual, we're talking about females.
Yes. And even though the female might be doing well financially, she's coming from a culture where she's accustomed to seeing that male dominance.
Absolutely. And that's a part of the reason why a number of the women are trying to do so much for themselves. And trying to do so much for themselves. What they are doing is exposing themselves to these guys who are physically able to dominate them at all times.
Dr. Bourne, where do we go from here? How will this information help us in the future? Because you have done this study. What should we use this information to do? And I don't want to have anyone throw rotten eggs at me, sir, but you see this happening in the church as well, or the church is not included?
It's happening in the church as well, man. Nothing is special. There are many cases. As a matter of fact, I did a research that I presented on your program already, where we looked at the church. It was something like 10% of the sexual violent cases were occurring in the church.
And what about other religious groups? We have other religious groups in Jamaica.
Absolutely, but I'm presuming Jamaica is a religious group of persons. So when they refer to as church, they're not actually segregated in terms of whether it's Catholic or whether it's Romans or that. They are saying church within that big umbrella.
You have other religions too, apart from the Christian religion.
Yes, why they're all going through the same thing. So Jamaica normally bought them as church. So what we need person to understand clearly is I want to present a finding and then give you my synopsis thereafter. Yes. The parishes in Jamaica with the most cases are 1, St. Andrew, 2, St. Catherine, and 3, Kingston. A number of persons would have actually thought that Kingston would be number 1 because this is where the violence are occurring in Jamaica. That's not the case. We're in St. Andrew, South St. Andrew, the Duane Park, the Patrick City, the Meadowbrook. We need ladies to understand clearly that these things are happening in some of the areas that normally people would not think of these things happening. Let's speak about St. Andrew South.
What about Upper St. Andrew? Or not enough data?
Upper St. Andrew, 6% of the cases.
Reported
cases. So we need to understand clearly. Then when we go to St. Catherine, we're talking about St. Catherine North. So let all listeners understand where St. Catherine North is. A part of the place in St. Catherine North. The Spanish Town, those areas are St. Catherine North. And those are the places we are seeing is happening in. Then for Kingston, it is Kingston Eastern.
Eastern, okay.
Right. So not what people would normally think. So, okay, this is happening downtown. No, ladies and gentlemen. So what does this say to us? We need to re-examine what exactly we are doing or not doing. And when I say we, you're talking about the ladies.
Yes.
Re-examine what it is that they are doing. Because they are making themselves exposed to a number of these guys who are going to rape them. They need to re-examine what they are doing.
We have seconds left, Dr. Bourne. Any word of hope?
There's hope. We have actually gotten the data. Let's take stock of our actions and make necessary adjustments to prevent these things from happening. And those women are hurting in silence. The time is now to speak.
Thank you, Dr. Bourne. I want to thank you for your time and for your thoughts this morning. Very interesting inquiry that you did. The results are stunning. And thank you so much again for being with us this morning on the Morning Watch.
And thank you very much for having me.
Up next is the second watch, but before that, we look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. Listeners, go absolutely nowhere at all. Please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Jane Bank, anything possible with a little savings in your hand.
The time by Jane Bank is
7:30 a.m.
I'm looking for a bargain. How much? I'm looking for a store.
If you're looking for bargains this Christmas, look no further because Woolworth has a real bonanza of bargains for you. If it's gifts you want, check out Woolworth's selection of toys, books, games, colognes, and perfumes. Woolworth has a Christmas cards and wrapping paper too. Want to fix up the house? Woolworth has Christmas trees and lights, houseware, glassware, curtain rods, picture frames, and more. So why shop around? Come to Woolworth this Christmas. You'll find it's well worth it.
Yummy full of flavor, pineapple, coconut and ginger. Oh, everybody love the yummy old time full of ox them. Tell them all round good vibes, full of love style, the full of well nice. New coconut flavor done right, just like one time. Yummy full of with pear or full of with cheese. No butter pop pie. Yummy full of flavor, pineapple, coconut and ginger. Everybody love the new coconut full of ox them. All round good vibes, yummy full of all round good vibes.
Harold, do you have a minute? I need your help with something.
What that now?
I'm filling out this form from the company's office and there's a section about beneficial ownership, but I don't even know what that means.
Well, a beneficial owner is anybody that owns or controls a company. That could be anyone, a shareholder, director, or manager of the company. The company's office also needs to know the identity of all these people, including their occupation, nationality, date of birth, current address, and a copy of their ID.
Okay, I think I understand now.
One more thing. Remember, company's office needs this information when you're starting a company, filing annual returns, or making changes to the beneficial owners. They're also going to need you to maintain a record of these persons.
For more information, visit orcjamaica.com and bohubjamaica.com.
Regent College of the Caribbean presents Regent Shabak, featuring Regent Mass Choir, Benicia Stone, Fabian Wright, Minister Diane Henry Plummer, Minister Lloyd Antwine, and more. Friday, December 8, 7 p.m. at Regent Campus, 7 Vermelia Road, Mandeville. 1,000 pre-sold, 1,500 at the gate. Children 12 and under, 500. Get tickets at Camp Care and Fontana Pharmacies. Regent Shabak. Don't you miss it.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on Jane Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. JN Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look at the newspapers and other news sources to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we have here, firstly, in Loop Jamaica News, Haitian man waits 4 years to become Jamaican citizen. He's happy to formally call Jamaica home. We have in the Gleaner, almost there. That is one of the lead stories. Almost there. Llewellyn, referring to the DPP Paul Llewellyn, Llewellyn says contract extension gives her time to fully transform ODPP. And we have in the Jamaica Observer, OUR survey shows utility providers score low on customer service delivery. Those and many other stories in our various news sources. Coming up next, we'll read for you some of the feedback from our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp question, which is, are you comfortable with Minister Johnson Smith's reassurance? Read the Samoa Agreement. Why or why not? If you haven't done so yet, leave your responses in our Facebook or YouTube. Love 101 FM Jamaica live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes too. 876-9973-125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
take to build Noah's Ark. The experts are still to agree on that, but we do know that God handed down some extremely precise instructions for its construction. After all, it was to house 8 adults and approximately 16,000 animals and keep them safe and dry for at least 40 days and 40 nights. Whoa! What do you think life was like for Noah and his family on the ark? Could you handle it? Tuesday, December 5, on The Rock, join host Bishop Harold Steve Blair and guests Roland Gale and Pastor Dion Lindo Witter as they discuss the topic, the Ark of the Flood. That's The Rock, Tuesday, December 5 at 10 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive, 1 to 5, December 5, packed with inspirational stories and island flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the brain testing Menticize Listener Speak Edition. Stick around for Prayer Blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence, we hear part 2 of the story of Crystal Day, who was molested at the age of 9, did an abortion at the age of 16, but God gave her freedom, and today she is a top 10 best-selling author. Then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit with the anointed pastor of the Jamaica Evangelistic Center in Mandeville, Pastor Gregory Mitchell. All this and more will come live 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. December 5 with me, Sarah, and the Chirpy One on the family station, Love 101. Celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
You're invited to join us for the 31st Annual National Prayer Vigil, Justice, Unity, Peace, Healing, under the distinguished patronage of His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, Sunday, December 10, 6 p.m., East Queen Street Baptist Church, 25 East Queen Street, live on Love 101 FM, Power of Faith Television, the National Prayer Vigil, Sunday, December 10 at 6 p.m. Come and join us.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We go right into the second watch. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, has repeated her assurance to civil society and faith-based groups that the Samoa Agreement, some might refer to it as controversial, will not infringe upon Jamaican law. And I gather that there was a meeting recently in terms of, last week, there was an extensive consultation with various groups at the ministry's offices in downtown Kingston. We will be taking a look at what occurred during that meeting as we continue to give updates on the situation concerning this Samoa Agreement, formerly referred to more popularly as the ACP-EU Agreement. We will be speaking with someone who was in attendance at the meeting, and he is our guest today, Evangelist Joseph Buckland, who is no stranger to the Morning Watch. He is a lecturer at the Jamaica School of Preaching and Biblical Studies. Good morning, Evangelist Buckland. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Stokeley Marshall. I'm fine, thanks.
Great having you on. Now, Evangelist Buckland, the ACP-EU Agreement, as it was more popularly called before, is now being referred to as the Samoa Agreement, in line with how it is now being currently framed. Tell us what happened at your meeting last week at the offices of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs downtown Kingston, where you would have seen and there would have been discussions with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith. I gather it was quite an interesting meeting. It was held on the 30th of November, it was? Last week?
Yeah, last week.
Tell us what happened at the meeting, Evangelist, and update us on the agreement.
The meeting was in two parts. The first part was the different presentations made by the government and its different ministries and agencies and departments. And the second part consisted of responses from the audience. The audience was divided into two main sections. There were people who were in support of the agreement, and there were those who had reservations about the agreement. The government, on its part, let us understand that there were previous agreements made with the European Union, and that the previous agreement, called the Cotonou Agreement, was nearing its end. And so there was a need to begin negotiations for a new trading agreement with the European Union. In fact, the point was made that it was not the European Union who asked the countries of Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific to begin the negotiations, but the other way around. These countries are alleged to have asked the European Union to begin negotiations for a new trading agreement. The emphasis made by the government presenters is that the European Union is the largest funder of the government of Jamaica in particular, and has helped in poverty reduction and in building justice and security systems, among other benefits. And the churches were even invited to ask the European Union for any funding of their projects, and that it is not limited to people who are secular, but it is open to the good of everyone. So the European Union was presented as being a respectful partner of the countries of Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific. But worthy of note is that throughout this presentation, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade emphasized that whatever is the meaning of the conditions laid out in the treaty, she and her ministry are going to make sure that none of our laws and no part of the Constitution is undermined, that everything will be interpreted within the context of Jamaican Constitution and laws.
And when you say that, Evangelist, can you remind the listeners specifically what was the concern of various persons from the church?
Yes.
And what do the assurances from the ministry mean, and what do they actually entail?
Yes. These are the concerns that we have had. Number one, there are some phrases that are unclear in the agreement.
Such as?
Such as comprehensive equality or non-discrimination laws. These were not explained. And according to the interpretation given to them in the European Union Parliament,
if I may ask, Evangelist, only because of time, was there also a concern in relation to reproductive health?
Yes, there was an expression called sexual and reproductive health and rights.
Okay.
And these were not defined in the treaty itself, but we know from the interpretation given to these phrases by the European Parliament that comprehensive equality refers to the acceptance
the European Parliament, or by the Europeans generally, or you're being specific about the European Parliament?
Yeah, I'm being specific about the European Parliament.
Okay, go ahead.
But it is not limited to them. It's also found in United Nations documents.
Okay.
These vague expressions, and
which generally speaking are taken to mean what, sir, by the European Parliament and others such as the United
comprehensive equality was taken to mean the acceptance of everyone's sexual expressions. Everyone's sexual expression should be treated equally or as the same. And also anti-discrimination laws. Everyone should have the right to do what he wants or what she wants without being restricted. That you don't give some people the permission and other people, they don't have the permission to do what they would like sexually. And sexual reproductive health and rights was interpreted to be a euphemism for the right to abort one's child. So there was
Evangelist,
need
only
for
because of time, we are now upon a break. Please hold that thought, sir. Listeners, we'll be right back on the morning watch. Go absolutely nowhere.
Time on Love 101 is now 7:45 a.m. We want to thank the AM Financial Corporation Limited for sponsoring the morning watch this morning.
Mama work hard, for real. She do the most to send me and my brother go school. So, the dream was always to go to university. Well, I fulfilled 2 dreams with 1 Jane Bank savings plan, you know. I further my education and I make mama proud.
Yes, I can break the part, travel far, graduate like a star.
Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Something smells good.
When you're cooking or baking, begin with the best. The trusted tradition of Benjamin's vanilla flavorings and colorings. Mix it, stir it, blend it all around and create something spectacular. Whether you're making cakes, custards, puddings, punches, or savory meals, Benjamin's vanilla flavorings and colorings add that special touch to everything. And here's something else special. Benjamin's ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon, anise, and mixed spice are now available in liquids.
Yes, everything tastes better with Benjamin's.
Benjamin's, a trusted name for over a century.
Tired of the high interest.
How long did it take to build Noah's Ark? The experts are still to agree on that, but we do know that God handed down some extremely precise instructions for its construction. After all, it was to house 8 adults and approximately 16,000 animals and keep them safe and dry for at least 40 days and 40 nights. Whoa! What do you think life was like for Noah and his family on the ark? Could you handle it? Tuesday, December 5, on The Rock, join host Bishop Harold Steve Blair and guests Roland Gale and Pastor Dion Lindo Witter as they discuss the topic, The Ark of the Flood. That's The Rock, Tuesday, December 5 at 10 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
Tired of the high interest rates and the whole heap of loan payments every month? Take a debt consolidation loan from AIM to pay credit card bills and all other high interest rate loans from other institutions. Make one low monthly payment to AIM and take home some extra money in your pocket. That's financial freedom. One loan, one low payment, more money in your pocket. Call AIM today to lower your loan payment. And remember, you won't find a better deal elsewhere. Guaranteed.
Friends and family. No matter where you are, there's something about the holiday season that always pulls you home. To be with the people you love and care about.
This holiday season, let Sagicor Bank help you make that home your own with a special mortgage offer that gives you a $2 million line of credit you could use to go solar and make your home eco-friendly. Put down your roots this Christmas with an affordable mortgage from Sagicor Bank. Conditions apply.
Your health is your wealth, so come we start the conversation. Make we rise and immunize all across the nation. The ministry is giving us the motivation. Get your infants routine immunization. Protect the toddlers from all diseases. Tetanus, rubella, whooping cough and the measles. Polymyelitis, mumps and the flu. Plus tuberculosis, to name a few.
Rise to immunize. Eliminating diseases saves lives. Visit your nearest clinic or health center for more information or log on to www.moh.gov.jm.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness with support from USAID and PAHO.
Scotiabank invites you to celebrate Christmas in the park. Enjoy a fun-filled evening of family entertainment on Thursday, December 7 at the Emancipation Park. Come see performances from talented young performers, including the Panoramium Steel Orchestra, Ashe, Voice Box, St. Andrew High School Choir, and more. Live on stage with the sensational gospel superstar Kevin Downswell.
You make me stronger.
That's Scotiabank Christmas in the Park on December 7, 2023. Gates open at 5 p.m. Admission free. Merry Christmas from Scotiabank with Cinco, Grace Kennedy, and Jablom.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the second watch. The topic is a further update on Jamaica and the Samoa Agreement. Our guest is Evangelist Joseph Buckland, lecturer, Jamaica School of Preaching and Biblical Studies. Evangelist Buckland, in relation to the Samoa Agreement and the discussions you had, or various groups, including and persons, including yourself, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs offices last week, Thursday, November the 30th, downtown Kingston, sir. I gather that there was an intervention of sorts by a particular group, a Christian-based group, and with the assistance and contribution of this group, a particular declaratory statement is to be used. Can you enlighten us as to what that declaratory statement is all about, and how does it help to reassure Jamaica and Jamaicans about how Jamaica will treat with this Samoa Agreement?
Yes, it was the decision of the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, based on previous discussions that were held in the past 27 months, and based on this consultative meeting held on November 30, that it would be in the best interest of Jamaica to add an interpretive declaration that would ensure that none of the conditions in the trade agreement will be interpreted in such a way as to violate the Jamaican Constitution, particularly Chapter 3, which is the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms, and the laws of Jamaica. In other words, it will be interpreted within the legal framework that we have here in Jamaica, rather than by other people's interpretations in other countries.
Very interesting. And it having been indicated or communicated that this interpretive declaration would be adopted by Jamaica, how did you, for example, come away from the meeting feeling in terms of this? Can I call it an achievement?
Well, I came away from the meeting feeling hopeful that this might be able to solve the problem that we had with the conditions, because the conditions, when interpreted in the light of the European Union Parliament and the United Nations documents, would make legal what God has declared unlawful. But with this protective measure of an interpretive declaration to ensure that Jamaican laws and the Constitution are protected, I am hopeful that it will solve this problem. And I am praying, and I encourage all God-fearing and Christian people to pray that God will work through this to prevent any of our laws from being changed, especially those laws that are based on biblical principles.
Understood. Now, Evangelist, having come away from the meeting with your understanding that there would be this interpretive declaration, sir, was it explained to you in the meeting how this interpretive declaration would actually how it would come into play? Is it that upon the signing of the treaty that the ministry indicated, or the minister indicated, that this interpretive declaration would go along with it? Would it follow? Would it be, what was the mechanism explained, if any, to you?
From what I remember in the meeting,
yes, sir,
that from the beginning, that this interpretive declaration would be placed side by side with the Samoa Agreement.
Yes.
As the Jamaican government's position on how they will interpret the agreement.
Okay, so in a nutshell, you can correct me as if based on what I'm saying, because you were at the meeting. So in other words, Jamaica's laws that protected the unborn would not be disturbed. That's how you understand it, sir?
That is how I would interpret it logically.
And Jamaica's laws that protect sexuality in the biblical context would be protected.
That is how I interpret it, according to the statements from the minister.
I see. Understood, sir. And having regard to all of this, what, if anything, would you like to indicate to us now? Because having gotten that reassurance that the government of Jamaica would be taking this interesting position, which I laud, it sounds like a good position. How do you feel now, apart from being hopeful? Is it that you're still watching to see what happens? Are you now comfortable? Where do we go? Where do you go from here? Or groups like yours?
Okay, well, personally, I really cannot speak for the groups in general, since I've not really met with them since that meeting.
Yes.
But speaking as an individual, I would say that I am going to be on the alert, and I'm going to be praying that this interpretive declaration will work, that God will intervene and cause it to work.
And Evangelist, before we wrap this morning, not to bring up anything unpleasant, but I gather that there was some opposition that you encountered whilst you were ending your presentation that you made at the ministry. What was that all about?
Well, you know, when two different groups meet, there is bound to be some opposition. But it was not anything that got out of hand.
Yes.
It was controlled by the minister herself.
Okay.
What they were opposed to was that the minister was the persons that were against the church's position.
Okay.
Yes. They were thinking, and perhaps they were right, that I was being allowed more time to speak than other people had. And the minister, after these people protested, allowed me 3 more minutes to finish up my presentation.
Interesting. Evangelist, I think we're totally out of time. I want to thank you for your time and for your thoughts and for updating the country as a whole, not just the church, but the nation as a whole on this platform as to what those discussions entail and what came out of it. Thank you so much for your time and for your thoughts. Have a good day.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much, Mr. Marshall.
Always a pleasure having you, Evangelist Buckland. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we look at other topical and controversial issues. And, of course, visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. Listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app. Download it today and stay connected to the family station, Love 101 FM, the #1 gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests. I am Stokeley Marshall, handing it back to Love in the Morning with Jakal.
Thank you so much for listening to the Morning Watch today. The Morning Watch again was brought to you by AM Financial Corporation Limited. Thank you so much for sponsoring the Morning Watch for today. They are telling us to visit any of our branches in Mandeville, Kingston, Spanish Town, Portmore, Maypen, Ocho Rios, and Montego Bay. Coming up at 8, we have Forward in Faith, brought to you by the New Testament Church of God